Don't create another Outschool self-paced class until you watch this video to the end because you want to avoid making these 3 mistakes, and I'll show you what to do instead to create profitable classes that sell out. It takes a lot of time and work and effort to create a sold out self-paced class. And whereas you're doing a lot of the work up front, we absolutely want to make sure that it can create you passive income and not just get buried under all of the other Outschool self-paced classes. Mistake number 1, just talking to the camera in your video lessons. I've seen lots of teachers where their video lesson is just them talking. Maybe they have a whiteboard, they're demonstrating, they're sharing slides in the background, and they're, down small in a corner sharing their lesson, and that's it. It's like a slide presentation. They're talking at their students, and it's not that fun. It's not that engaging for students. We need to make it fun. We want students to keep coming back to our classes and bring in those reviews like, yes, that was a super fun class, so we're going to stand out. How do we do that? Teaching with interactive lessons. So that could be a drag and drop activity on your screen. So instead of just like that slideshow, now you are moving pieces on your screen as you are talking. Much more visually engaging than a whiteboard you're holding or the Zoom whiteboard with that pen tool. So for example, you have a math class and you're teaching multiplication. I have all these drag and drop fun pictures on my screen that I'm using to multiply, and we're putting into equal groups. So as I am teaching students, they're actually visually engaged with what I'm doing up on the screen. Another really cool tool you can use for interactive videos is Nearpod. Nearpod allows you to have your video lesson, but then within your lesson, you're able to add in questions. So as students are watching your lesson, now you can stop, pause, type in your question that students have to answer before they keep moving on and watching the rest of your video. This keeps them engaged, and they're watching the lesson because Nearpod has a really cool feature where we're able to dive into student data. All the students who take your class, you can see what they answered for that question, if they got it right or wrong, so you can really see the engagement and how they're doing in your lesson, especially that video lesson part where you are doing most of the teaching during those videos. I wanted to take you inside of Nearpod and show you what this interactive video looks like. So I'm just going to click on edit right here. So this is a division lesson I'm teaching using a strategy. And how I teach it in this video is as I'm recording myself teach, I kind of pause. So I know that that's a spot for me to add in a question. So I'll add the question, but I don't pause very long. That way, before I reveal the answer to my students as we're answering this math question, they have a chance to answer it because they're doing the work with me in this, along with this video. And then they get to this question, and it's 8 divided by 4. Is 8 my divisor or dividend? So before I tell them the answer, we've talked about it. Now they have the chance to show me what they know, and they'll answer it, and then they can continue on with this video, and then they'll get to the next question, have a chance to answer it. So in Nearpod, you can create multiple choice questions or open-ended questions where they're able to type a response. So I love using Nearpod in this sense because you can use it for anything during your video lesson, and you can ask questions during your video lesson, and students can actually respond to your question, and you can actually see their answers. So here's Nearpod. Fantastic. Absolutely recommend it. If you have any questions about Nearpod, put them down in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. Mistake number 2, sending worksheets through Outschool for them to print off and do at home. Again, this is what everyone else does, but it's not what you're going to do because we're here to stand out. What can we do instead of sending home worksheets? How can we make it fun and engaging and stand out? A couple different ways we can do this. One, interactive slides. So utilizing Google again, and I can send slides I've created to students, and these slides that the students get are going to be interactive. So I can have some information on a slide and then a spot for students to type. These are answers to questions. They can upload then pictures to go along with whatever you're talking about. So maybe your class is about reading and we are practicing some reading skills and then maybe answering some comprehension questions. All of that can be contained in my Google slide that I'm going to send my students. They can type answers to responses. They can upload pictures. They can upload GIFs that tie into the responses, like, how did this part in the book make you feel? Show me with a picture or a GIF. And now students have a different way of responding instead of just typing. You can really understand how they're feeling. I can include drag and drop activities on that Google slide. So students are now having some maybe math manipulatives. And they have these cute little pictures again on the screen. They can move to whatever to add, to help them subtract, to multiply. Or I can create T-charts, diagrams, and students are moving those words to label parts on a diagram or a picture. Make it interactive, and Google Slides can do that. Another fantastic tool to really make your lesson interactive and engaging is, again, Nearpod. So Nearpod, along with those interactive videos, you can add in 3D diagrams. So if you're learning about animals, you can put in some 3D animals where students can actually spin that around. Virtual reality is super fun. So students are immersed in a 360 picture. They can spin that picture all the way around to really look at everything. There are matching games you can embed right inside of Nearpod. So let me show you what a few of those will look like. I absolutely love using Nearpod in my own self-paced classes. So back inside Nearpod, I really want to show you what some of these interactive activities that are available right inside Nearpod. So we're inside one of my lessons again, and this is the matching game, and this is what students will see as well. They're able to find the matches, and they'll know if they got it right, and they'll know if they got it wrong, and they'll be able to try to match it again. And this draw slide is really good for letting students show their work, so they can draw on this slide to show their work. They can highlight words. They can underline keywords if you're reading, or highlight all the nouns, solve a math problem, and they can also type their answer and upload pictures too to help describe or anything, however you want to tie it in. And then they have a quiz option here. So at like the end of your lesson, you can throw in a quiz, a multiple choice quiz, and students will answer. And then at the end, it will tell you what they got. So just real quickly, we'll go into edit because I want to show you more of all of the great features you have. So we're going to add a new slide. So any slides that you have created in past for your lessons, maybe for that great live class that you want to turn to a self-paced class, you can add in those slides with a click of a button. Here are all the interactive slides here. So we got the interactive video, this PhET simulation, really great if you teach math and science because it's like hands-on science experiments in a lab. Really cool. And then the VR field trip, that's your 360 images. They can move around, your 3D objects to explore. And then you got those quizzes that I had in mind. This time to climb one, though, is super fun because as your students are answering questions, they'll see themselves race up a mountain. Got matching pairs, fill in the blank, and we can go on forever. A poll, open-ended questions forever. But Nearpod is just fantastic, so I wanted to give you a taste of how you can make your classroom engaging with Nearpod. It's great that this is all in there, and it's for free. So if you have any, let me know if you have a light bulb. Like, just put light bulb in the comment if you had an aha moment of like, I'm going to use this for my self-paced class because this will work really well. Put a light bulb inside that chat. Mistake number 3 is creating a class without doing the market research first. It's really fun to say, oh, I want to teach about this, so I'm just going to create a class and go for it. But we really want to make sure that we have a profitable class that's going to create us passive income before we spend the time creating it. So, creating self-paced classes, here's what I would do first. Create a class based on your most popular live class. What is that live class that students are just always signing up for? That one class that is just your bread and butter, and you can always keep it full. What is that class? Let's create a self-paced class of our most popular class because we know students already are loving that class and know we're going to have success with that class because our live classes is in high demand. Join me next week as I dive in. I'm going to plan out my self-paced class and get a series of classes all strung together based off of my most popular class. So you can see really what this process looks like of taking my live class, now turning it into a self-paced class, and we're going to get these series of classes all laid out so they flow and align and are ready to go to create a self-paced class on Outschool. I'll see you next week.